Wanted to play this because since we're talking about the U.S. men's national team, Ricardo Pepi was on a podcast.
Also, thanks so much for hanging out with us. I know we're going super long today.
Not that long. We're part of the usual. Ricardo Pepi was on a I don't want to butcher the name of the Conville Minder the podcast.
It looks like a Groningen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fan podcast, because that's our logo in the middle of the
right. And they asked him about not getting called up to the U.S. men's national team, and this was his response.
Yeah, I remember exactly the moment. I hopped on a phone call with the national team coach, and he said that I wasn't on the roster. So then I just hung up the phone on him.
Did you ask why?
No, not really, to be honest. It was just something that I was in shock. I was in shock because it took me like 5 minutes to be able to just get it in my mind. At first I thought it was like I just couldn't believe it, and then I was just talking to the coach, and then when we hung up the phone, then I just called my agent immediately, and then I called my dad, and then they thought I was playing with them. So yeah, it was something that I was shocked, to be honest. And like I said, I use every situation, and every situation like this is always going to make me hungry, and it's always going to motivate me to keep working and working hard.
So this is the first line. He said, he told me I wasn't going to the World Cup, and I hung up on him.
Okay. Can I just say, this might not be the most mature way of two things, handling that situation, and then why are you telling us about it?
If I can visualize, visualize that, somebody just giving me bad news, and to my employer, or, my coach is saying.
What's he supposed to say, though?
Obviously,
let's be honest. Look, players have, especially strikers, they have big personalities, big emotions. I don't think we're viewing this as disrespectful. I think him talking about it is more disrespectful than doing it. Because what's he supposed to be like? Yo, that's crazy. What's he supposed to say?
I would say when you say what he's supposed to say, he should say something that rather than I hung up the phone on him.
I don't think
so. And look,
I don't think Coach Berhalter will hold this against him as much as you can't do this to your boss.
Okay,
your boss calls you and says like, "Yo, we don't need you for that project." Click. Hello.
So and it sounds like. Maybe he's exaggerating a little bit. It doesn't sound like, because later on when he says, kind of clarifying, it doesn't sound like he actually, hey, you're not going to the World Cup, and boom, I didn't hear another word, anything.
Yeah.
I didn't hear another word that Gregg said. It might have been. It sounded like he was just in such shock that he couldn't hear anything else that Gregg was saying.
That's relatable.
Right. This is part of the story of the U.S. men's national team at the World Cup. On top of the other dozen stories that came out of it.
We're a big goddamn soap opera, bro. We don't want to be.
All right.
But also, when you look at remember when we were there, we were told there was a rumor floating around that Pepi was a part of the plan until the phone call. Something happened on that phone call, and that's why he was no longer a part of the plan. Do you remember hearing that when we were at the roster reveal?
Yes. Somebody
again, that's a pure rumor. We don't know that for sure.
Right. Let's be careful what we say, because it'll get clipped.
No. It was a rumor.
It was a rumor. Yeah. But and if this is there's no way that there was a possibility he was gonna have a shot, and then this phone call happened. Like, the decision was clearly made. He just,
if we're taking him at face value,
which I'm going to.
Right. What I will assume, though. And one of the things is, if you go back to the Giorena situation, remember Giorena on his phone call was told that he would not be a big part of it. Remember? There was that whole thing of like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that happened on the phone call or like the first week in training when, he was maybe not showing as much gusto out there.
Sure.
Again, I'm trying to navigate through all this bullshit.
No, I respect.
Do you think maybe Pepi got news that he's like, hey man, you're not going to be the starter, and he reacted so negatively? We were like, we don't even want this dude in the camp.
I have no idea. I can only speculate. I do not know.
That could be a possibility.
I'm going to assume that that Pepi was not brought to the World Cup because of the incredibly poor form he had at Augsburg. He was doing well at Groningen, scoring a bunch of goals, so you could understand it was like a late stretch of like, yo, maybe I can get an opportunity. I haven't heard anything about him as a person or his character that would suggest that they wouldn't have wanted him there. But I don't have.
Except
I'm not
for
privy.
what he just told you, which is that he hung up on the coach.
That is
That's usually.
it's not a good sign.
It's not a great sign.
But he's a kid. He's also a kid.
But you're asking the kid to be professional.
I am asking that.
Yeah,
So
we all are.
yeah. But do I think this should hurt his chances in the future or anything like that? No, but I think a lot of people were upset. People handled it differently. I mean, Paul Arriola, he put out a long statement. He was very sad about it, but who knows? Paul Arriola may have thrown his phone across the room for all I know. I don't know.
Might have text Pepi, hang up on him.
I could understand people being frustrated and people being upset, but if it went like this, where he just like literally just hung up the phone,
Hey, if we're gonna take it at face value,
then nah, that ain't cool. Like you gotta take the L.
I might forgive him. I might call him back, and if you don't pick up, that's when I'm mad.
Ooh, okay.
I don't mind me delivering bad news, you taking it badly, because I deliver bad news. It's okay that you take it badly. I can't ask everyone to be completely cold-hearted too, or slow to react to bad news. But if I call you back and you don't pick up, or you don't call me back immediately after I call you up and you don't pick up, because maybe you did throw the phone and now you got to find it. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then yeah, no, we done.
Okay. A couple other ones. Victor Wanyama resigns with Montreal.
That's right. New logo, Montreal. We're off the snowflake. Back to the Florida League.
Club de Foot.
I think they changed that too.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's right there. Right there. The two more, yeah.
You mean they have a new logo, but the name is the same.
They did stay with CF Montreal.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. So anything else that we may have missed? We're trying to cover as much as possible. A lot has happened, obviously, in the last couple. Oh, yeah, this is one that I wanted to make sure we got to because obviously the World Cup was going on. But LA Galaxy have been fined.
Oh, yeah, they got a pow-pow.
They got a pow because they were doing what Inter Miami was doing and paying some players a little bit under the table.
So Beckham's former team pulls a Beckham.
Yes, Major League Soccer. This happened December 2nd, but Major League Soccer announces sanctions for LA Galaxy for violating salary, budget, and roster guidelines. And in 2019, they paid Christian Pavon, the winger for LA Galaxy, who was playing pretty well, but then he
also was a big name at that time, being considered by some big clubs in Europe, and shows up as a TAM player. And we're like, huh.
Interesting. How'd that work out?
Damn, you must be good negotiators.
And then Christian Pavon also went back to Argentina and then got involved. I think he was some sexual assault charge, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah, he's no longer a hot prospect.
Right. And but the fine was pretty rough.